A few years ago, Don Buettner, National Geographic Fellow and New York Times best-selling author, was studying what makes people live the longest. He found that there are 5 areas of the world where people live longer than anyone else. They're called blue zones, and it's not just that they live longer, they age better too. Their bodies don't show the same amount of age-related wear and tear. They have lower rates of dementia, cancer, and heart disease, and they even recover from injuries more quickly. In other words, aging is not about getting older. It's about how old you are on the inside. As Dan says, if you're 60 years old and your body is in its early 50s, then you can expect to live for another 30 or 40 years. But if your 60-year-old body is equivalent to an 80-year-old body, you might only have another decade or 2 to look forward to. So I want to share with you some surprising lessons from the blue zones, so that we can all learn to slow down our biological clocks and live vibrantly for many decades to come. If you find this helpful, please do share for others to benefit too. The first blue zone is Okinawa, Japan. This is where the world's oldest women live, and they seem to be immune to dementia. One of the things that stands out about the Okinawans is that they have strong social connections. In fact, their language doesn't have a word for I, because they always include others in their speech. They're also very physically active, and they incorporate exercise into their daily lives by walking, gardening, housework, and other activities. The Okinawans also follow a plant-based diet with lots of vegetables, fruit, soy products, whole grains, and fish. Meat is rare and only eaten on special occasions. In fact, the Japanese call meat petty meat because it's something that you eat when you're feeling low. Interestingly, one of their traditional foods is sweet potato. It's high in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. And the Okinawans traditionally roast theirs in an underground oven made of hot stones. This way of cooking sweet potatoes gives them a special flavor and texture that you won't get any other way. Also, the Okinawans take naps. They know the importance of resting and recovering. In fact, they have a word for it, Shinrin-yoku, which means forest bath. They believe that being in nature is healing and rejuvenating, and they make time to spend in the forest every day. The second blue zone is Loma Linda, California. This is a community of Seventh-day Adventists who live longer than the average American by 7 years. What's amazing is that they used to live 14 years longer than the average American. But modern conveniences and access to junk food has narrowed that gap, so it's clear that these communities are doing something right. First, they don't smoke or drink alcohol. Second, they exercise by working in their gardens and doing manual labor. They also eat mostly plants, including nuts, fruit, and vegetables. They're especially fond of avocados, which are high in monounsaturated fats that protect against heart disease. Also, they keep their brains active by engaging in lifelong learning. They're also physically active, and they incorporate movement into their daily lives by walking, gardening, housework, and other activities. In fact, the average Loma Linda man has the cardiovascular fitness of a 10-year-old, and the average woman has the lung capacity of an 18-year-old. The third blue zone is a small village in Sardinia, Italy. This is where the world's oldest men live. They have a very close-knit community, and everyone looks out for each other. They also have strong family ties, and they often live in multi-generational households. It's common for grandparents to live with their children and grandchildren, and everyone works together to support each other. Sardinian men also follow a Mediterranean diet that's full of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and beans. They also drink lots of red wine, which contains antioxidants that protect against heart disease. Sardinians are also physically active, and they incorporate movement into their daily lives by walking, gardening, housework, and other activities. Men are especially fond of hiking, and they often go on long walks in the mountains. In fact, the average Sardinian man has the muscle strength of a 20-year-old. The fourth blue zone is Icaria, Greece. This is another Mediterranean island where people live longer than average. They have a very relaxed lifestyle, and they don't stress about the little things. They also have strong social connections, and they spend lots of time with their families and friends. People in Icaria take naps. They believe that it's important to rest and recharge throughout the day. In fact, they have a word for it, siesta. They also have a strong sense of community, and they look out for each other. People in Icaria also eat a Mediterranean diet that's full of fresh vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and fish. They also drink lots of herbal tea, which is full of antioxidants that protect against heart disease. The fifth blue zone is a small village in the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica. This is where the world's oldest people live, and they have a very active lifestyle. They get at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. They also have a strong sense of community, and they look out for each other. The people in Nicoya also have a traditional diet that's high in beans, corn, squash, and tropical fruit. They also drink a type of coffee that's high in antioxidants, which protects against heart disease. So what can we learn from these blue zones? Well, first of all, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to living a long life. What works for someone else may not work for you. So you need to experiment and find what works best for you. But there are some common threads that run through all 5 blue zones. First, people who live in blue zones tend to be physically active. They don't think of exercise as a chore, but as a natural part of their daily routine. They also tend to have strong social connections. They're not loners. They build strong relationships with their family, friends, and community. People in blue zones also tend to have a positive outlook on life. They don't let the little things bother them, and they know how to relax and enjoy the moment. They also tend to have a purpose in life. They know what's important to them, and they make sure to prioritize it. Finally, people in blue zones tend to eat healthy diets that are full of fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. They don't eat processed foods or sugary drinks, and they don't smoke or drink alcohol. By following these tips, you can improve your odds of living a long, healthy life. You don't have to do everything perfectly all the time, but even small changes can make a big difference. So start by making one small change today, and then gradually build from there. It's never too late to start taking care of yourself. So what are you waiting for? Start today and you could be enjoying the benefits of a healthier, longer life sooner than you think. And as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do share for others to benefit too. Thanks for watching.